Let me just start recording. Okay. All right, I think we can start now. Okay, welcome everyone to our second webinar for the data marketplace. The previous one was more a high level about what the data marketplace is, where we want to go with it, and so on and so forth. And this webinar will be more technical, where we will also preview to you how the data marketplace will work from a technical standpoint, because the implementation is fully done right now. And so the only missing piece right now is to onboard all of those sensors. So during this webinar, we will also show you how to onboard your sensors more easily. And so Lewis will take care for most of this call and lead it. And I just wanted to give one last remark here is that it's kind of time sensitive to onboard the sensors. So it's quite crucial for you to think about which sensors you want to onboard and then also follow the steps that we provide to get started. And after this webinar will obviously be fully recorded, and we're going to share it with all of the participants, and then also provide some next steps on how to get rolling with the official launch of the data marketplace. So without further ado, I'll just leave it to Lewis to lead the call now.
Cool, thanks, Dom. Yeah, just make sure everyone can hear me. Dom, can you hear me?
Yeah, works fine.
Cool. All right. Yeah, so welcome everyone. This is the second webinar, as Dom said. If you weren't here for the first one, I'll just quickly run through what the data marketplace is. I'm sure you were, but if you weren't, cool. Yeah, so the data is basically a proof of concept that allows for sensor data to be put onto the Tangle. And then it can be read using master authenticated messaging streams in a browser. Encrypted in the browser. So what we'll allow people to do is kind of provision a bunch of devices. They'll have a little section on the website on the front page, and they'll have their logo, and they'll be able to click and show the sensors that they have on the marketplace. So you'll be able to see them by company. You'll also be able to see where the devices are on a map. So we'll put the latitude and longitude in, and so you can actually see where the device is. We'll also have statistics on, how much the device has been paid. So, we've set a nominal price for the data stream, and then when users pay, they'll actually go to an address on the testnet, and that address will be read whenever a user goes to the page. So yeah, obviously you can buy stream access. There's also a functioning testnet wallet in the proof of concept. So when a user goes to the page, they'll be given testnet tokens. Then they'll be able to pay for streams, but they'll also be able to, if they run out of tokens, they won't be able to pay, and they'll be able to refill and all this sort of stuff. So Dom's actually just linked a document or a blog post about master authenticated messaging. If you haven't read it, it's a good read. It basically describes how it all works at a kind of a high level, and what's possible, and how that sort of stuff. I mean, you guys are getting a bit more of a preview because you're actually being involved with how it works. So there's a link here that you'll be able to actually go to and kind of see it. But I kind of would like you to kind of stay focused on this for the moment, because I'm just going to quickly run through it, how it all works, and I'll show you how each of the functions the proof of concept will go. Cool. So in order to participate, you need a suggested device. It's possible to run on other things, but just stick to these, and we know it works, so it'll be easy to run. So the easiest to get going is a Raspberry Pi. You can also use a BeagleBone. They're fairly similar. You can use a Ruby tag if you have one, and there's also the XDK if you want to use it. But sorry. Oh, okay, sorry. If you want to use it, but that's a little bit harder. If you're not a coder or you're not familiar with the device, it's probably best to steer clear of that. Cool. So we'll just quickly run through there's kind of 5 steps here. It's relatively simple in my opinion. So we'll just download the code. We'll run it. This step you want to run on your device just to make sure that the device is able to run the code. Get any if it doesn't run and you're kind of wondering why it isn't loading on or anything like that, then we'll onboard the device by filling out the information on the onboarding form, and then we'll modify the code so that the code will publish data to the right place in the database and allow for the proof of concept to read the device's data. finally, you'll be able to go onto the marketplace and actually see the data coming through. It'll be quite nice. Cool. So first off, we're just going to go to this URL. I'm going to go to this URL here. I'll post it in the chat so you guys can go and copy it. Anyway, so what you'll need to do is you basically just need to click on here, and that should download the marketplace template. Great. So once you've done that, you'll need to basically just run the test code. So what you want to do is you want to extract the zip file. You'll go and you'll open it up in terminal. So the zip file will contain these files here. You'll need to go into your terminal at the correct folder, and you run the command npm-i. Now this is assuming you have, or the device you're running on has Node installed with Node Package Manager. So what this does is this just downloads all the dependencies and makes sure that it can run and it has what it needs to be able to execute the code. So quickly run that and install all of the required items, and we can see that this folder here gets populated with all the dependencies. Cool. So next we'll run node index. What that'll do is that'll in the current state, the code will run kind of a test, and it will attach some fake data to the tangle and return a route or an address used interchangeably here that you'll be able to test on the onboarding website. So we'll just run node index, give it a few seconds, and it will generate just of random data that fits the proof of concept, and then publish this data out to the tangle. Can take a few seconds. Cool. So now we'll grab because MAM streams are sequential, so you'll be able to kind of follow from, if you have an entry point, which can be any one of these routes, you'll be able to follow the stream in chronological order to the current time. So we'll grab the first one that was published, and then we'll go to the next step on this page. We'll paste it in here. We'll click the fetch data button, and what the code just did is it published data 4 times to the tangle, 3 times, 4 times. And so what this is showing is that the data has been received by the tangle, and that it's it's basically showing up and it's reachable. So that's good. That if you run this on your device and you're able to get the route out and you're able to see it in this website, then that means that you're already halfway there. So cool. So yeah, copy the first route, enter it in, and you should see data coming out. Next step is to fill out the form. So once you've done that, we'll go over here. So we'll create a device. So the device that I will create will be say an IOTA. So this is the ID of your device. So preferably make it lowercase, make it without any spaces, because that can get a bit annoying in the URLs. So we'll make a device 401. Company will be IOTA Foundation. Device type will be, say, sound monitor. Cool. Location is Melbourne, Australia. Longitude and latitude I've got prepared earlier. Punch that in. Cool. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Just to give you an overview of the code here. So this is what you'll get in the zip file. So it has basically the setup portion, which is this stuff here. So this is where you kind of set it to debug or not, or the device's ID, which you're setting right here. So you'll change that in a little bit from test to whatever your device's name. And then the second or the first function is the publish function. So what this does is it actually creates the MAM payload, and then it uses this attach function to attach it to the tangle. And up at the top here, we've already specified the node that we're talking with. So that's all set up. And then the second bit is where it actually pushes the routes or the addresses to the database for the proof of concept, which allows the database, which allows the proof of concept to be able to read the streams and pass that on to users when they pay for the data. Cool. So, and this last bit here is what actually invokes the functions. So we have the function's being called 4 times, and this uses the publish function, publishes the current date, which the current time which is required, and then it creates a sort of a data packet. So in your implementation, what you'll do is you'll use this publish function. You'll pass in your different variables here, and you call that, every couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however many intervals you'd like. So one thing that's interesting here is that you're not limited to, say, temperature, pressure, and pollution, I think. You can change it to whatever you want. So in this data fields here, what we can do is we can put in a sound field. So we can go like, just call that sound. The field ID is the bit that is important. So what we'll call it DEC. So and then so in here, what we'll do is we'll switch this field name to that. So this, the key of this data here is mapped directly to this field ID. And then we'll also add in the unit, so like decibels, so dB here. And then because we only have one bit of data, what we'll do is we'll clear it out. So we only have one bit of data in our packet. Cool. I'll save that. Oh, sorry. Also got to change the ID up at the top. Cool. We'll go to set the debug to false, which will mean it will, false. So it will publish the data to our database. And then that is ready to go and to be tested and actually viewed on the marketplace demo. So we'll click submit. What that'll do is, it's added the device. So this is the unique ID of it. And if we click this link here, it will actually load us into the data marketplace, and it will fetch us the device. So what we can see here is it's loaded in the information. So I've just entered Melbourne, Australia. The device has no IOTAs yet because no one's paid it. And I have a wallet up here that isn't funded. So let's just quickly go over to here. Cool. So yeah, modify the code, change debug to false, change your unique ID, and then you'll run your code. So once we've changed this all, we'll go to here. We'll go node index. So what this will do, this will start the function, much like the time we did it before, but now it will publish the data or the routes to the Tangle. You'll see it kind of do this. So this means that the data has been published to the database, which is good. So now we'll be able to say, we'll be able to check the data. So we'll fund our wallet, and we'll click, so we click fund. What that'll do, that'll ask for a testnet wallet. So we have a testnet wallet now with 2,000 IOTA in it, and we'll click purchase data. So what this will do is this will actually start a transaction. It'll create one. It'll do the proof of work for it in the browser. Most browsers are able to do the proof of work, but some have an issue. So we're working on how to make that a little bit nicer if that's not allowed in the browser. And then so this is the data being loaded in from the Tangle. So we can see here that the data is being loaded in as you scroll down, it'll load more data in as needed. But basically, so you've got data coming in from the database. Data coming in from the Tangle, and we can all see that. So just to give you kind of a bit more of an overview of what the rest of it looks like. So this is the homepage of the website. You'll be able to see devices that have been put on. So as long as you have the correct coordinates, you'll be able to have your device show up. So this is a test device that I put in here in Geneva, I think, maybe. And there's a few other people who have already added some stuff. I'm going to clear the database after this call, so everyone can have a fresh start. There's no data polluting anything. And if we want to quickly just see that device, I'm just going to have to drag all the way over to Melbourne. Cool. So this is the device that we've just added. And if we click on it, we'll load back in. And so the proof of concept already knows that what our wallet is and what our balance is. And it will automatically load in the data that we purchased. Devices, and you'll be able to go into them and see how it all works. Cool. Also down here, you'll be able to these will be logos when we have logos from you guys. So this will show the sensors from the different companies. And so you'll be able to kind of go in here and click on them and see the devices themselves. Cool. So this is, it's relatively simple, but it's quite powerful, and it shows that you're able to publish this data and allow purchases and all that sort of stuff, which is kind of cool. So yeah, are there any questions? I see there's one in the chat, but hopefully that was relatively straightforward and relatively easy to follow. I'll also make sure that I can give everyone a copy of the slides after this, and also the recording.
So are there any technical questions right now, or is everything clear on how to get started?
Hello, this is Paul speaking from Triana. We bought the NetAtmo kit as you suggested in the first meeting. Will that run through smoothly as well, or?
Yeah. So,
I'm not.
So no, when it comes to the NetAtmo, what we've been working on is a wrapper for it. So basically, what you're able to do is we have this script that fetches data from the NetAtmo weather station, and then that data is input directly into the Tangle. The thing about the NetAtmo weather station is that we can only do this via their API, because we obviously can't run IOTA on it yet. We don't have a partnership with NetAtmo yet. But we can get that rolling. I can send you some stuff afterwards on how to get started with the NetAtmo, because we have those scripts already ready, but it's super simple, and like your developers should already also know how to do this quite easily.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Ilan from the Netherlands. I set up my demo yesterday with a Raspberry Pi, and I got a different link on the data marketplace demo with MVRAK, something different than, because not right now you see map and I can click on Rotterdam and I see my Raspberry Pi. But is it true that like that the interfaces are different, because like the order, like how the temperature is being registered is like it's the first registry is still on the top, but you would want like the latest temperature, for instance, on the top, right? And then you would go into all the information. So have you guys changed this?
It's different between the two different the link that you had previous and the current one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this has been changed. I've updated some of the logic in the front. The previous link was more just to kind of demonstrate, but this is a bit more pretty much done.
All right. And it also says like the device balance and like the price of the data is like randomly being installed, or is like a standard thing right now?
Yeah, so what I've done is I've set these values so it can't be changed, because if somebody sets a device price that's above what a user is able to get, we kind of want to make sure that another user can go to a number of different devices and see how that works. And also when they go below balance, they'll be able to kind of see that, okay, I can't actually purchase anymore.
All right, thanks. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Seems fine, I guess.
Yes, here's Franz from Renningen Bosch. Are there already XDK sensors active?
Not currently on this demo, but we have the code from the previous work that we've done on the XDK, and we can modify that quickly.
I mean,
Yes.
Andreas can just easily connect to it because he already has this working. So he will set up an XDK as well.
Yes, I am in contact with him, and it is ongoing.
Okay, perfect. I know of another company that is also going to use an XDK, or two others actually.
Okay.
Also, there was the one in the chat with about the array number. I thought it would be better to map the packet to the to an ID rather than an array number, because it's easier to get messed up if it's not done correctly. So you'll have, you know, a reading that's maybe 100 times what it's meant to be in the wrong spot. So I decided just to make the ID name the where it is in the array.
Yeah, I thought the array number was with like the inputs of data you put in there. So I set mine yesterday to 2 because the only thing I give is like temperature and basically like the date, the timestamp. So, but yeah, I saw like in the demo you just gave it, you left it at 4, and I thought like, okay, so what about that? But okay, it's irrelevant apparently.
Yeah. So you can have as many different kind of pieces of sensor data, like how many you want. So some might have 3, some might have 8. It really just depends what you want, and it will be able to handle that. One more thing. I know that we have somebody mentioned over email that they might want to have the device moving. So if I'm not sure if they're on this call or not, but if they see this, they can email us and we can organize how that data will be put into the data packets. So I can maybe make a map that appears in the card view, so you're able to actually see the how the device is moving in the environment. Sort of like wait for it to load. Yeah, just in the card instead of inside. So like in here, there might be just a little map with a little pin on it.
I think that would be really awesome, actually.
Yeah, it could be quite cool. There's another question in the chat. Are you planning on releasing APIs to let the device also buy data? So this proof of concept is really a little bit more consumer focused, so showing that different companies are able to put the data on the Tangle and being able to purchase it. In the future, well, the code that we have that is running for this devices, you're able to easily modify that to have devices talking to each other, and then also integrating the IOTA libraries to be able to purchase data. So it's not in the scope of this proof of concept, but it's definitely possible. Any other questions?
Yes, Franz again. The XDK sensor is the device which I know best. Can you tell a bit more about the other devices? How expensive are these, and what is to be done to put them into operation and connect them to the Tangle?
So in terms of the devices we'd look to have people use, they're relatively easy to use. They're not very low level like the Raspberry Pis and the BeagleBones and stuff. They're more enthusiast hardware, and they cost maybe anywhere between $10 and $20. They're quite cheap, and they have Wi-Fi inbuilt and all this sort of stuff, so they have connectivity. You're able to quickly put it together. The script that I have is able to be that I've shared with everyone is able to be used quite easily, just to run it and then or modify it slightly so you can loop it and have data going in. But really, it's quite simple to set up, and the cost is nominal for these devices.
During my discussion, Andreas mentioned the Raspberry Pi, and I'm not quite sure if I got it right, that it could be the preferred hardware. For the code that I've written, it's already done. It's complete. It's fairly simple as well. There's a lot more involved in more lower level or embedded hardware to get it working, because you need to compile stuff and all this different things. But the code that we have here is fairly easy to run with a few commands, and there's not much that can go wrong. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. A question. I have a question to the time scale. How long will this proof of concept be running?
So our intention is for this to run for about a month. So we're still flexible on determining the date, basically on start and cutoff date. But we want to run this for a month, basically to give more and more people the ability to really try this out in real time. And also what we will then do is we'll write a report about it and so on and so forth. Are you planning to release APIs to let devices also buy data? Looks like now this feature is only available from the portal. That's a very good question. And that's actually something that we are really looking into right now. But the biggest problem is like, how do you pay for it? Because then you would need to have like a CLI wallet or something. But it's definitely something we're looking into. Yeah.
Hi, Gabriele Manno here from DMV. I probably missed the most important 5 minutes of the discussion. But here about buying data, who is buying data? Is it another device or is it a user that is buying data?
So it's another user.
Example,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for this proof of concept, it's a user, so it's a human buying data from a machine. This is kind of the first step in kind of getting people to understand how and what messaging is, and how the Tangle can be useful for devices communicating with each other. Because if
does the user need to have a device at the moment for being able to? No.
All they need to do is they need to be able to go to this website. They need to have a modern web browser, not Internet Explorer.
Right.
Yeah, and then they'll be able to go and they'll be able to see the devices on the map, click on them, they will get free testnet tokens, then they'll be able to view the data. So they'll be able to purchase and do these transactions on the internet, and that will interact with the Tangle where the data is stored in the MAM streams. And then they'll be able to decode it after they've purchased the data.
Okay, so as a user, I have already an account with some tokens in it, or not?
Yeah, yes, these will be provided to the user when they arrive at the demo. So if you can still see my screen, I think you can. I'll just quickly reset the demo. Let me go here. There we go. Data. Let me just copy this URL, and I'll show you how it kind of works for a new user going onto the marketplace. Cool. So when this loads up, you'll see here it says wallet not funded. So this means that the little wallet portion of this website hasn't got a seed, which is the how the wallet is secured. So you click this button here, and it gets sent to the you get an already pre-populated seed with testnet tokens.
Right. Okay.
And these 2,000 tokens are available for your purchase. So when you click this button, you will send 350 tokens. That didn't work. You'll send 350 tokens. Maybe sorry, I blocked the bit that's required to do the proof of work on incognito. Sorry, this will work in here. Yeah, so you click the purchase button, and that will allow you to purchase, to send a transaction, which will then give you access to the data stream.
Okay, but as a user, okay, this URL that you were showing, this has been distributed before, right? In other emails.
No. This is the first time I'm sharing the full kind of proof of concept to show that this is how it works. Before there was a testing link where you could see a portion of this. Yes.
Okay, so if I go to this URL, I will be already logged in as a user, and I don't need to go through any user authentication process.
So that's all happening in the background. So I automatically assign each user a unique ID and then log them in, sort of thing, and then also give them access to a wallet.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously our goal with this is that. Yeah, this is exactly. So our goal is really for this to be as simple as possible. No login required, no email sign up or whatever. You just go onto the website, and you immediately have those tokens sent to you in the wallet. Just as an aside note, please do not share this with anyone, right? Especially not the links, because this is still in active development, or at least finalization of it, and so yeah.
But this URL has been shared in the chat so that I can just click on it, or I have to copy it?
We can share it in the chat. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I've just shared it there.
Perfect, thank you.
And you will also, I will also send out the slides as well. So you'll have the URL for this link,
Yeah.
And also the link for the onboarding form as well.
All right.
Any further questions, or I think we've covered most of it.
Yeah, I might have another one on another subject slightly. When we create the devices and we kind of bundle the devices to the system, to the IOTA system.
Yes.
There we put a name of the device, we put all the information about location and so on. And this is done really by the user. There is no really assurance around this, what's happening there, right? So I'm saying that someone could create informations that are not true.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. While at the moment there's nothing to really ensure that the data being fed into the system is correct, you could use like say if you wanted to know where the data in a specific area, say Berlin, you could access a number of devices. So using a similar system like this, you could purchase the data from 3 or 4 devices and average them and maybe see if somebody is an outlier and then remove them from the data set. So you're able to get a kind of, unless everyone is colluding and everybody is putting the wrong data out, then you can't really verify that. But there are other solutions being worked on to be able to enable that.
Okay. Very good.
We have a question from in the chat. There's no incentive to get paid for data. Do you foresee an open data market in the future? No fees for us to use the Tangle. Yeah, so I can quickly remove the protections from a specific stream. So if you don't want to have the device pay for have a paid data stream, it can just automatically allow the data stream to be read. That's not built in yet, but it's an easy fix to just remove the protections that have been put in place.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing to add there is always the main reason why you want to still participate in this data marketplace, even though you're not selling data, is you basically have this full data authenticity. So if someone wants to access your data, let's say we have a few smart city projects who are joining as well. And obviously those smart city projects, they don't want to sell data, they want to give it away for free. But this data marketplace still makes a ton of sense because now you can just easily get this data and the full authenticity and data integrity. So yeah, we'll definitely enable that for this use case as well, so you can give away data for free.
Does that answer your question?
Cool. Yeah.
So when I buy data from a device, then each device has a wallet, right?
Yes. So for this demonstration, it's if IOTA at the moment doesn't have smart contracts. When these are implemented, we'll be able to decentralize this data marketplace further. But at the moment, there is a single server where it basically gives access to the authenticated, the masked authenticated streams. So a user pays for access to a stream that gets sent to the device's wallet. The server then verifies that that's actually happened, and then it provides access to the stream to the user. So all of the devices are putting the master messaging keys up to the server, and the server is then disseminating them once the users are being paid. But with an extension of IOTA, with the smart contracts, you'll be able to have this happening, device to device or person to device directly.
Okay. But there is a user that controls the devices, right? And eventually can tap into the revenues that each device.
Yeah, yes, of course. So the devices themselves, at the moment in this demo, they're being assigned just a random address because you could enter your seed yourself, but just for ease of use, just to make this as simple as possible, it's all being taken care of. So when you actually go to a device's page, you'll be able to see in real time how much the device actually has. So I'm just highlighting on the screen right now. You'll be able to see that the device's balance is 350 IOTA. As demo increases, people pay more and more into the wallet. And then, you know, in a real world scenario, that wallet is then able to be accessed by the device to purchase other things, or the person who's created the devices or put them out there to then, you know, do what they will with the tokens.
Okay. Good.
Just another question. In terms of timeline, when we are supposed to set it up, when we are supposed to set up our devices?
Now,
Done?
Sorry, I didn't hear it full. When you were supposed to set up the devices?
Yeah, in terms of timeline, is there a deadline where we are supposed to set up our device, or?
Yeah, so the deadline that we are aiming for is the 16th of November. So you have roughly another week for this to go out.
Okay.
Yeah, the sooner the better, because then we can make sure that it's all running fine. We can run some tests beforehand, and yeah.
Okay, clear.
All right, I think that was it for most of it. If there's no other questions, we'll call this a successful webinar, I guess. Oh, there's one more question. So user profiles, that's what we're setting up, right? Or Lewis, how does that work?
Oh yes, sorry. Yeah, so in order to have a company's profile on the are we talking about the devices profile or the participating teams? Okay. So in order for that to yes, cool. So what will happen is in the form here, you just have to enter the company or the participating team, and every time you provision a device and you add that to the marketplace, just make sure that that's the same, and the marketplace will automatically pick up. It belongs to and group them together, so you have a set of devices that are your teams. Additionally, after this call, if everybody could, who would like to have their logos put on the data marketplace, if they would send an email to Dom or myself with their logo or you know, some of their permissioned artwork or whatever, that I can use to be put onto the marketplace to enable some branding to go alongside the devices that you have on the network, on the marketplace.
Hello? Yes. Just another question on the same topic. So is in this moment, is it correct to say that only the devices will have, I mean, there's a one-to-one match between devices and users? If I am a user that doesn't have a device, can I buy the data or not?
Yes. So you know, there might be 100 devices participating, and there might be thousands and thousands of users that are able to access that data. So we provide a wallet for any user that goes to the proof of concept, and that allows them to purchase data from the proof of concept, from the devices.
Okay, so the user is not created when you create the devices and include the devices in the experiment. A user can also just subscribe to the portal independently.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, if there's no more questions, I think we'll close this out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for.
Yeah, you were saying yes. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Overall, I think if you guys have any more questions, you can also just shoot us an email, and then obviously the goal should really to start this or like to finish this onboarding process by the 16th, so that we can really make sure that the platform works sufficiently, and then launch it ASAP. So yeah, thanks a lot for your time. And we will send you a follow-up email with some more instructions and with the video of this webinar. All right. Bye, take care, everyone.